And for my future self is to, well, keep on dreaming and believing, because if I keep on dreaming, I will still manage to achieve the goals that I've set since a young age. And in my opinion, age does not matter. If I'm able to do those things when I'm 35, it wouldn't make a difference to me. No. I still did those.
Welcome to Tennis Insider Club. I am Borja Duran, and together with my partner, Caroline Garcia, here is where tennis stories and life conversations intersect. Join us as we uncover the untold personal journeys of the icons of the court.
I hope you will enjoy this conversation with Stefanos. For me, it was a real privilege. Before beginning, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next episodes. Also, it will mean the world to me if you can share this episode with someone you think will enjoy it. Thank you! Stefanos, thank you so much for being with us.
Of course.
First question, how did you start with tennis?
So my beginning with tennis started when I was about 6 years old at the courts of Vouliagmeni, the town that I grew up in. My parents introduced me to tennis at that age. I was running around the courts of the Four Seasons in Athens, the only Four Seasons today in Athens, and I stumbled across tennis at the age of 3 years old. I was playing with the kids that my parents used to coach, which usually came either from tourism or from kids that were local from nearby towns. And my first relationship with tennis was developed around the age of 3. That's when I realized what tennis was, how it's played. In the beginning, it was just purely fun. And they were the reason I got into tennis.
Nice. Did you show some talent from early stages?
Picked up tennis, as I said, at 6. That was the age where I really started playing it more often and even being in a group of kids, playing it in a proper way. I wouldn't say so. 6 years old, I was good, but it was way too early to say that
true.
I'm going to be good. But to be precise and honest, I actually liked way more football than I did tennis. And football is really the sport that I loved the most until the age of 9. And that's the next phase, I guess, of the question.
And then you had to choose, or you were able to do football and tennis at
No, I did choose, but it all came when I won my first ever tennis tournament at the age of 8, I think, which was in Normandy, France.
Oh yeah?
I went there on a summer vacation with my parents and a friend that brought us there as a vacation trip. And I managed to get into the Masters tournament, which came after 3 or 4 consecutive tournaments in a row. And I won it. And that was the very first time I realized how much more fun it is to win something on your own and to compete on your own, to do stuff for yourself. And that's when I later at night woke up my dad in the middle of the night and told him, "Dad, take me off swimming, take me off track and field, take me off football. I just want to play tennis." That was the night that he will never forget, if you ask him.
Nice. And then you start transitioning into trying to become like a pro, or?
Well, 9 still quite, you can say, optimistic. Okay, let's become professionals. But I still approached it as a game, even at the age of 9, 10, 11. I still saw it as a game and something I loved doing. I think the very first time that I had a professional relationship, I developed a professional relationship with tennis, was perhaps when I reached the age of 12. That's when I realized maybe that's something I want to do in the future, and something that I started perhaps envisioning myself doing really serious and at a very high level later in my the beginning of my career, let's say, if that was to come.
When you moved to Muratoglu Academy, is it for you a big step in your training and the professionalism of it?
It was huge because I was practicing in Greece at the time. And I came from a country that had no structure and no help when it came to developing young tennis players and giving them a path or a route forward. So Patrick saw me in a YouTube video. He reached out to my father because he heard that I was a Greek kid playing decent tennis. At the time, I made my first Orange Bowl final. So there weren't a lot of kids from my country that played good tennis at the time. So for him, I guess it was nice to bring a kid out from his own heritage into the academy. And I came there in 2015, I believe. And I left my parents Actually, no, I didn't leave my parents because I had my dad traveling with me. But let's redo it. I left my home, so my mom stayed behind with the rest of my siblings, and my dad took me with him, and we went to the Muratoglu Tennis Academy, which we obviously heard a lot of good things about. We knew who Patrick Muratoglu was and what he did with young talent and his reputation with professional tennis players. So I actually believe without the help of the Muratoglu Tennis Academy, it would have been really difficult for me to transition from that junior phase that I was going through to a professional phase. That was my second year on the junior circuit. I had some good results, but I still had to get stronger. Physically, I was still a child. If you would have seen me play back then, it didn't look anything like I do now. And I think the academy, what they did is they offered me support in terms of structuring my life, bringing my life into a nice, cozy, warm place, and allowing me to thrive that way.
Nice. Yeah, it was not a couple of players from Greece, but not so much.
Yeah. Maria had the same route.
Yeah, and she
went to
shared the
Barcelona.
same story actually. Yeah. And this moment where you start really like seeing that you might have a fair shot, at becoming a pro. Was it easy, or you start kind of losing a bit the essence of the sport, of playing for fun, or?
It became more of a job. In the beginning, it was something that I did because I enjoyed tennis and I really played it with my talent. Looking back into those moments, I really feel like it was a Stefanos version of purely talent and playing in a way that I never played again the same way I did back then, because I had no physicality. My cardio was good, but it was not the best. And I was very thin at the time with not much power. And once I started working in the academy, the difference that I saw in a year or two after was immense. The difference was huge in who I was developing to be as a tennis player. So I definitely can't thank them enough, that even Patrick, because he had a good eye for me at the time, and he allowed me to be part of the Champ Seed program, which is a big program at the academy. And that way I felt like my eyes were more wide open to what tennis is really like, because I had no real clue or idea of what it takes to become a professional tennis player. But at the same time, I feel like my father was a big reason of why I managed to become a professional tennis player, because without his guidance, without his support every day, because he was there every single day, I don't think I would have made it. I don't think without his parental support, but also his coaching support, which he offered every single day, I would have been able to climb the ranking so high up, but also boost myself with confidence along the way.
Nice. Because you had once your transition to the Pro Tour starts, you had a pretty fast success. Now there's a lot of hard work behind, but some people take 10 years. You were a bit faster on that. How is it, that moment where you go from being a kid with dreams to actually being on tour, having to deliver, outside pressure? No, I think it becomes crazy as well. Did you struggle with it or not?
As you said, it came quite fast, because I remember looking at certain numbers back then, statistics that were comparing some players before me, how they did it and how long they did it. And I remember being one of the fastest growing players from my generation, but also from generations before. So I was proud of that. Things that I kind of even surprised myself was I was not this type of player that everyone was talking about. I was not this type of player that was number one and beating everyone and doing crazy things in tennis. So for me, I was a good junior. I had a good ranking in juniors, Tennis Europe and ITF juniors. I managed to get to number one in ITF juniors, but I was not that next prodigy that everyone is talking about. So I think that actually helped me, because I didn't feel like I had a lot of pressure. I didn't feel like I had a lot to prove. Anything that I was proving at the time was huge already, because Greece hasn't seen anything in tennis. So any little success that I was able to add along the way was already a big success for me, but also a big success for my country's sport. A big contribution to what I was trying to do out there, prove everyone that it's actually possible.
Do you think that maybe the fact of that the big three or big four at that moment were so big, they were winning everything, that maybe young talents had more freedom, to develop, and Because otherwise now, like everyone is like, so, he's going to win a slam or who's going to win it, no? But at that moment, it was weird if...
It's a different expectation.
Yeah.
You're living in a different dimension, in a different world.
But maybe you have like more time to grow up, no? And,
you do. You have more time to grow up. You have more time to just focus on yourself because there's no media, there's no one criticizing, no one adding any pressure, any expectation to you, and you're just in a playground playing free and just experimenting with things.
Your own expectations and your teams, that's it. Right?
Absolutely.
What expectations do you have back then? Do you have like, I want to be number one, or you see them so far away, it's like, let's see what we can do here?
So I remember finishing the season number 2 in ITF Juniors because I skipped Orange Ball. I decided not to play it. I went to play some pro tournaments instead. What I was proud of at the time was that I didn't sit so much with juniors. I played some junior tournaments. In comparison with other peers of mine at the time, they played a lot of juniors. And my father insisted I play pro tournaments in combination with juniors. So at the time I was already ahead in terms of ranking. I was probably top 400 by the time I finished with ITF Juniors. So that was already a good indication. And I was already kind of prepared for the next phase because I was combining both. My expectation at the time was to try and make it into a Grand Slam qualifying draw. 400 is quite far. You still need 150 spots, you know how it is. So you still need to be good in some challenger tournaments and show some good results here and there to be able to collect those points and go far. But also because Roger Federer was my idol, I really wanted to catch him before he retired.
Nice.
It's true. I had never really disclosed that before, but I knew I was in a tricky phase situation where the top 3 still playing, but obviously they're not the youngest anymore. So I was like, at least I want to play the top 3 before they retire or they stop. So I really want to be in a good situation ranking-wise to do that.
Nice.
It's true that I never thought about it, but it was a good kind of side goal to like be able to compete with them.
These were the guys. These were the reason I wanted to be the best in tennis because I saw them play on TV and I really wanted to see how it feels being like them.
It's quite rare at the end that your heroes as a kid when you're growing up are still active once you reach. Not maybe in business it happens, but it's different. But in sports, it's like it's very rare. So
it's a very strange feeling when you actually admire them, watching them play on TV, and suddenly you're, holy shit, I'm playing against you. It happened to me a few times. We can discuss it later.
How was it? Like, were
it was a strange
too
sensation.
Happy to be there?
It was a strange sensation. We can talk about it in a bit.
And once you start, you do that because at the end that transition from top 400 to top 100 or top 50 was quite fast.
It was, yes.
Compared to others, there's a lot of hard work behind, but how is it there? When you start having a bit of that expectation of not only I want to go to qualis, but I cannot lose or I should not lose the first 2 rounds because of my ranking. Is it easy, that moment, or you start to like really lose the essence maybe?
For me, that feeling came later into my career. Even at the time, I was still qualifying for Grand Slams. I was not always qualifying into the main draw. I remember my second Grand Slam qualifying appearance. I did second round qualifying, which is not great. And the same happened in US Open before that, which was a third round qualifying. So it's not that I was delivering amazing results straight away. It took me a while to reach that. But what I did very well throughout those first years on the tour was I was quite consistent, which helped me accumulate a lot of points, and at the end managed to get those goals that I was chasing and going after. I'm trying to exactly remember when was the switch and when was the actual change. I did win my first challenger in Genoa, in Italy, and that was the turning point in my opinion, because that's where I gained the most amount of confidence, I remember. I really felt like a strong player on clay courts since that moment. And I think weeks later, I qualified for my first Roland Garros, playing Ivo Karlovic in the first round, which was also weird because I was watching him on TV my entire life.
Yes.
True.
So I remember being very stressed on that match.
But it's true that the first time you go through qualis in slams, it's like a big step forward.
Milestone.
Because it's like almost, it's 3 big matches, like so intense, and like you're reaching like, okay, I made it to my first like Grand Slam on my own.
Where was your first qualifying slam?
Well, being French, it's a bit, like.
Obvious.
But I got a wildcard for French Open qualies when I was 16,
Okay,
2010,
I see.
and so I was up first match. I was up like 3-love, and I lost 6-3, 6-love.
Oi.
It was not a good experience. It was a painful experience.
That's interesting. Okay.
That was a painful experience. Like ranking wise, like I was maybe like 300, so I was not that far.
Yeah.
But
that's
I was
good
like
ranking.
overstressed because like we have some young tournament in Roland Garros like when we are 12. So I was like, okay, this is the place I want to be like. That was my dream, and I played terrible. And then the year after, at 17, I got World Card, and I passed my first round. And Australian Open, same. We got World Card, I passed my first round. But first time I went through qualies was Wimbledon, I think 2012.
12.
And it was like, of course, like I had that.
It was emotional. It's an
Yes.
emotional.
Especially Wimbledon, yeah, like you're like on the other side, you're like, it's no one watching, there's just line and a net. And I had the experience of main draw, but owning by myself, like fighting it, was really special.
You feel like you're the boss.
Yes. You feel like you're almost top 10, it's like almost the same.
You become the
Like,
little diva.
And you're like, wait, I just qualified. I have to play the main draw now.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Cool. How old were you when you win this first challenger in general?
You asking me questions, I feel like it's been ages ago, but it's actually probably like, 7 years ago, 8 years ago?
It's true, like tennis years are like dog years, no?
Yeah, they say athletes die twice.
Yeah, true.
I think it was in 2017.
Okay, so you were like 2019 maybe?
19.
19, I think. Yes.
Okay, nice.
So like in 2018, you reached your first final in ATP in Barcelona.
Correct, yes.
So it's a 500.
And
I was there
I was
watching,
about to talk
actually.
about that
Yeah.
before, about the idols thing, yeah.
And you played Nadal in final.
In Pista Rafa Nadal.
In Pista
Yes.
Rafa Nadal. I was there that day.
You were?
Yeah, I'm from Barcelona, so Godó is a good event to attend. Yeah, it's nice.
How was that experience? Already to reach a final,
That
and
was-
then like.
That was a very strange match. I was playing crazy that week. I had a very nice session a few days before going to Barcelona
Okay.
with Patrick. He explained me a few things, and I remember immediately my tennis went like this. Since those 2-3 practice sessions I had with him, he explained me a few technical things, a few tactical things for clay to consider, and I remember being so observant by those things he fed me with, and I really tried to utilize them on the court when I went to Barcelona. And I remember feeling unstoppable in the tournament for the very first time in my career, because I was still young at the time. I felt like I owned the big guys going out on the court playing against them. Like I felt comfortable with them.
Okay.
And that was I felt like that was a big pivotal moment where I started feeling like, okay, I belong here. Where maybe in the beginning I was perhaps doubting it. I haven't really proven it through results.
Imposter
Maybe
syndrome.
only like thinking that it might be possible, but there was the first time I actually proved that it's possible.
Okay.
So I go through my first round, I win. I have a few good matches against local Spanish players like Ramos Vignolas, which, he's someone that has a good reputation on the clay courts. His tennis suits the clay courts.
Yeah.
Then I had, I think, another win against Dominic Thiem, quite easy for me at the time. In terms of result, I didn't expect to win that easy against him. And then against Carreño Busta in the semifinals. So I had a few tough matches that I had to withstand. And I think even, Diego Schwartzman, I forgot about
Okay,
him.
that was a big challenge. Yeah, back then.
So there were plenty of matches that I had to overcome. And then final was against Rafael Nadal. And I remember thinking to myself, how did that even happen? Like, how did we even get to this point? I was not ready for Rafa Nadal.
What was your
Thinking
mindset?
about it now.
You think you have a fair chance or no? Or you were
No,
just like...
I thought I might have a chance because I'm like, I'm playing good, why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, but it
and
was not
you're
realistic.
young, you're stubborn, you're thinking so many different things at the time.
Yeah.
But reflecting on it now, looking at myself how I was back then, no chance. There's no chance I could have won that match. There's no chance I could have done anything different that would have had a different result against him.
Yeah.
I was just physically not ready because comparing myself to what I was back now, I was physically not even 50% of what I am now. And I was not my tennis IQ and my IQ of how to play on clay was not as good as it is now. So definitely not.
Nice.
I
Interesting.
mean, Rafa on Pista Nadal, it's like...
It's true.
And I was intimidated too.
Yes. I think if just by being there on the final against Rafa in Pista Rafa, they should give you a special award, you know, like you didn't win, but it's kind of close, you know.
Congrats for competing.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
what I will never forget is we are in the coin toss against Rafa for the first time. I think that was the first time I played him. Yes, it was.
Okay. First time you play a big
First
three
time
player or
I-
no? Wait, it's okay. No, it's
Yes.
okay. So
Yes.
It's a lot of
First time I play
emotions
a
in
big
one
three
day.
player, that's
Yes.
right. And I remember him jumping around and everything. And I'm like, we're here, Barcelona playing a final, and this is him, and he's just running backwards after, and it was probably I felt the most heavy ever in my tennis career until that time. Just seeing him on the other side of the court, the presence was immense. It was huge. I've never felt so much presence from a player on the other side of the net.
nice. Yeah, it's true.
It
It's
felt
quite,
really
it's quite
intimidating,
something.
very much.
Yeah. But after maybe, you know, like that day I was not great, the outcome maybe, but maybe gives you the belief, no, okay, if I keep working, not with Rafa maybe in Barcelona, but in other places I'm good, no?
I remember having a chat with Costa after the final, the tournament director. And I'm like, even if I play there or he always comes up with a response. I can't do anything. And he was trying to give me tips of how to play. I'm like, yeah, but even if I do that, it just doesn't work. And at the time, I was in disbelief. There's no chance you can actually beat Rafa on clay.
Yeah.
Until it happened.
True. When was the first time you...
In Madrid. And that's when I unlocked the code and I'm like, okay, it actually is possible.
Was it the year after or?
It was the year after.
The year
yes.
after. Okay. Nice.
Yeah. And so after you're at the top, you're with the big three, and your goal is you reach the final in Roland Garros.
Yeah.
Correct.
How was that experience?
It was very long. I would compare it to a marathon experience. It was my first time going so deep in the Roland Garros. Thinking about that whole tournament now, there were a few moments that stick out to me and I remember very vividly. There are others that are kind of forgotten somewhere in the storage room. I haven't really opened those much. And it's an interesting tournament that year for me, starting off with a difficult first round. I think was against oh God, I played so many Roland Garros. Who did I play first round in Roland Garros? Jeremy Chardy, I think. If we find the first one, I might remember the next ones. That's the thing.
Yeah, once you know where you start, you know where.
So the funny story with that Roland Garros run is that I had an entire song playing on my mind during the entire 2 weeks. It became a superstition, and I was playing so good that I didn't stop singing that in my mind. Also, it was Miss Independent, by Neo.
Yeah.
And I remember it became such a superstition that I kept singing it in my mind because it was working. So the whole tournament I just kept repeating it.
It has
During
to be
the matches?
Yeah, during the match. Even if I would have forgotten, it was like a way for me to meditate and just have something in my mind that's gonna occupy me. It's gonna make me forget about, I guess, the nerves or anything that might occur in that moment and in terms of feelings and emotions. Just that was my little distraction, my safe space.
Yeah.
And it just kept working and kept working. I kept playing better, just singing that song. I know it's weird.
It had to be the song. The moments like.
No, it's like
Even
also,
during the point.
Of course.
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, at the end, maybe to take a song is something a bit different, but at
Right.
the end it makes completely sense because sometimes we got played by our own mind who
Yes.
brought us, I don't know
Exactly,
where, like
exactly.
1,000 kilometers from what is happening like really now. So like,
That is probably why I chose to do it that way. To just be aligned with my mind in the present.
Yeah.
So it became such superstition that it wouldn't then turn off when I had to transition to the grass court. So it kind of became on its own after. I don't even think.
it's a good one, I like it.
Yeah.
But that tournament was a lot of fun for me because it made me understand the value of a Grand Slam final and what it really means being in such a victorious position of one of the biggest tournaments
for sure.
in the world. It was painful, it was emotional, it was a roller coaster, it was great for me as a player because it was something that brought a lot of people that I love and people that love me closer to me. I made a lot of people proud, but I didn't end the job with my run there, so I still have unfinished business in Paris.
Nice.
And
It's a good challenge.
Yeah. Do you feel a lot of pressure from the outside? I don't know, maybe be from Greece, you know, like
It's
they
true.
have athletes, but
No.
Maybe not from Greece, but once you maybe reach a final of a slam, it starts, no? When is he going to win it, no? And maybe this can have a weight on you.
I hear everything. It's not that I don't hear it, but as I said, for me, every small little achievement is already an added bonus.
Yeah.
I add to it. There's nothing that I can be taken away from.
Yeah.
So having all those Greek flags around in the final, I'm playing Novak Djokovic, who is in the exact same situation as me. He's probably been there much more often than I have. That's the only privilege that he has.
Yeah.
That's the advantage that he has. So I am aware of that, and I'm playing with the actual feeling of having nothing to lose and have nothing to kind of worry about because I'm out there learning what does it feel like playing a Grand Slam final. But in that moment, I'm not even concerned about the final itself. I just want to get out there and be in the lead as fast as I can. I just don't want to be on the back foot. That's the only thing that worries me when I enter the final.
Okay.
And I end up going on a 2-set to love lead.
It's true.
Yeah, and then the downfall starts.
did the music stop at 2 sets to love?
It didn't stop. It didn't stop, absolutely not. I made a massive mistake in the final that I have many regrets, even today. That's the only regrets that I have. And that is, well, my team, we have great communication with my team and we speak about things openly, but I just learned through that final that superstitions aren't always necessarily good.
Mm-hmm.
And that also goes for not eating as well when I'm playing a final, which obviously can cost you so much. I'm sure I'm not the only tennis player that doesn't do that. I'm sure a lot of us don't eat when we play, but especially when you're playing a best-of-5 match, it can really cost you at 2 sets to love up.
Okay.
I was running out of energy during that lead. I remember my energy kept dropping little by little, but I was still convincing myself that, oh no, I've been doing well without it. I don't need to change anything right now. It's just drink my electrolytes, my water, it's enough, and play on an empty stomach. And I felt like it was too late after when I started. Because I did start in the 4th set, end of the 4th set, I convinced myself that, okay, maybe I should be a bit more open-minded now and do things differently, but the train had left at the time, so it was a bit too late.
And also on the other side of the net, there's probably the greatest of history. He's going to take every opportunity he has. Most of it probably against any other, maybe Rafa, no? He would have been able to, but if there's someone who can capitalize on these little windows.
The difference that I saw, as you
Novak.
said, it was purely energy-wise, because he was really playing with a big heart and his effort was showing on the court, and I was slowly falling and falling and falling during the match.
Yeah, like in a marathon when you reach the wall in
That's
kilometer
exactly.
30.
That's exactly.
I was there 10 days
can
ago.
relate.
Yeah, I hit the wall on the kilometer 21. And, there's a moment where it's not about will or desire or talent. Just there's nothing there. That's it. What was your learnings for after? Besides the nutrition, maybe there's need to change some stuff. Like mindset-wise, does it fuel you? Like, okay, next time I'm there, I'm gonna get it, or?
Well, I realized it the hard way, and that's the only regret that I have from that final. I have no other regrets because I gave it my all in the final. There's nothing that I can say I could have done better. I really tried my best. I didn't panic and I didn't choke. That is for sure something that I want to disclose because people might have said that I choked at 2 sets to love up. It didn't happen. I know how choking feels like.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't happen in that scenario. I was going for the win. I was going for the kill. I really wanted that Grand Slam win in Paris. And there were no doubts crippling into my mind during that final. There was nothing that was kind of, I felt like it was a weird intervention during that final. So I can't say there was something there that cost me the win. But the things that I do take away from it are definitely the nutrition part, but also sucking it up all in, even if I feel like it wasn't fair. It was fair because my opponent was better prepared than me to go to war.
Yeah.
Because at the end it was a war. A final is a war.
It was a 5 sets event. Yeah.
And so in your career, you won ATP finals and 1000 event. Do you feel like obsessed by a slam, or you just like adding something to your career?
I'm definitely adding something to my career. I used to be obsessed with the slam when I was much younger.
Yeah.
But I realized over the years that I have matured and my priorities are still kind of the same, but I know that obsession on its own is not gonna give you slam. There are actions out there that need to be executed and done in order for you to get those Grand Slam titles. Like, it's one thing of dreaming and writing it down in a journal, they say, or like thinking about it, visualizing it. I've done that plenty.
Yeah.
But the next thing that's lacking is actually going out there and doing it exactly as you want it to be.
Yeah, focus on what you can control, which is every day work as hard as you can and improve as a player and as a human, right? Like the other thing at the end, if you have Djokovic there, at the end, there's parts you cannot control, unfortunately, right? So you can try to the best you can do is put all the work you can. And then if it happens, I guess it happens. Yeah.
And so, and your environment has been a lot with your family, with your father, and I've been in that situation also. And now you express more the feeling to go by on your own and be more free. I did also, and it's like sometimes it's a new adventure. You try to discover a bit more who you are, and a lot of things change in your mind with your tennis.
I think a lot of things change outside of my tennis, which actually affected my tennis. That's how I have been reflecting on that change that I've had with my father, who was there with me since the beginning. And we obviously had a lot of tensions throughout this road. It's, I think, quite normal. I wouldn't think otherwise.
Yes.
And he's been a great support for me. And he's a very emotional person. People do not understand. He's a very emotional dad to have around. And he's someone that has shown me the way for so many years of how to go and how to try and do it. And he was not always wrong, but he's a man of honor. He has admitted it plenty of times that, I've been wrong, I've done wrong, and I accept my mistakes. I've chosen to stop collaborating with my father this year because of I saw a lot of things that were tiring to him. He was not anymore on the same energy levels as he used to be. Perhaps he was making mistakes more often than he normally was. And I was already thinking of that years, actually. I wanted to take my own route already for years now, but it was just difficult to disconnect and to let go of my father, who has done so much for me. Because at the end of the day, I think of all the positives and all the good stuff that he has brought into my life. And doing that to him, putting him away, just abruptly, just like that, is something that will hurt him so much. And it's like a relationship where we have had. It's just difficult to suddenly cut it and go around separate ways. It needs to happen a little bit more smooth and soft. And with my dad, since the moment we have stopped, September was actually the moment that I've decided to actually let go. I'm in touch with him and we talk, and I really want him to be my father because I feel like through our relationship in tennis, things have kind of gotten mixed up. And I've lost that value of the father that I want to have into my personal everyday life. It has become more of a business type of feeling transactional feeling that I've had with my dad. And what I mean by transactional, I feel like it feels more that he's integrated into my tennis than he's integrated into being a father to me. And that's something that also has upset me over the last few years, because I always wanted to have a dad by my side. The dad that I remember when I was 10 years old, 12 years old, taking us to, obviously it's not going to happen the same way anymore, but those type of relationship that I used to share with my dad at the time, and it brings me so much great memories. And seeing him stressed around me, seeing him suffer so much, hurts me as well, because that's also one of the big reasons I've decided to let go, is through his own suffering that I have seen too. And his personality will never admit that he's suffering or that he's in a bad situation or a bad feeling. And if he doesn't do it, I have to do it for him. It's for his own good and for his own protection at the end of the day.
Yeah, and also like
it's not always about me.
No, it's a, like you say, it's a relation. So it's for both person. But it's true that I mean, every story is different. But it's true that when you spend so much time together on court, outside the court, in tournament and everything, it tends to go more for the like business and relation, and you miss sometimes the like emotional part of just connection. Just like you just need someone to tell you like it's okay, you know.
Just how you said it, Caro. Was it difficult for you to transition in that phase?
Yeah, it's difficult because.
And it takes time as well.
It takes time because like it's what you know for since many years. So you build your identity around it, and in a way, yes, they help you to go in the direction. They kind of protect you in the way they believe they will protect you. And then you have to go away from something you feel comfortable, even if you are uncomfortable in it sometimes. Yes. But it's what you know. And maybe you have made it to the top with that team around you. And sometimes you can be tricked by the fact that, okay, but it worked with that team. Why it's not working anymore? Why do I feel I need something else?
There are so many things that I can relate on that. I absolutely get it.
But you feel like deep inside, and even sometimes it got built in years, that I need to change for my own good and for my personal life. I need to go somewhere. I don't know where I'm going, but I need to go there.
In a way, uncomfortable place, because you know there might be growth waiting there.
Yes.
Because it's an uncomfortable place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it tricky. You let go of something that feels and sounds familiar. But you're actually letting go of something that will allow you to perhaps maybe flourish in your own ways, different ways.
Yes, so at one point maybe you need to start being more independent. No, if that even comes with mistakes, no, and like fucking it up a bit, it's mistakes you need to do, right? You need to sometimes learn things in the hard way.
That's exactly also, I feel like something that was lacking a little bit is my own sense of just letting me to fuck up on my own.
Yeah.
It's just let me make those mistakes myself, and it doesn't matter. I know those wouldn't happen if you were around, but knowing that this independent feeling and this feeling of actually, okay, let me, as we say in Greece, eat my own legs and fall down and understand how life actually works. It's actually something that might help you as well go through it all.
I think humans, we need that freedom, right? Like, and at the end, most of mistakes, you will always find a way to recover from them, to improve. No, there's always one Roland Garros more, hopefully. And even if there's not, it's not going to be the end of the world at the end tennis. No, there's so much more things to life than tennis. And I think that's like, also, I guess it's from the father perspective, very complicated because you just want the best. But sometimes I guess you have to say, okay, like he's in a different stage now. He's like 24, 25 or whatever age it is. It's time for them to go by themselves. They will always have me as a father, but they need to just...
Yeah, for professional, maybe for your tennis, but also for your personal. And when tennis stops, you want to be like, to arrive to the normal world, let's say, with, okay, I did mistake, I know I can learn, I'm a confident person because you will take, you take more decision on your own.
Correct.
And you grow as a human.
Yeah, you take, me, I'm gaining like confidence, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I know I can do it, you know, like sometimes I will go through a decision for like 3 hours. You can see that, but like I will take it.
Was it easy for your dad to let go, like to understand your decision? And because like for him also must be a big shock to just go back home and watch you on TV.
It's more of a surprise in terms of everyday things for him than it is for me.
Yeah.
Look, I still think he's hurt even today.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he has fully recovered, to be honest. But I don't blame him. I understand him, like, in those type of things. I understand that he needs time, and I try and do it in a smooth way where I do talk to him, but obviously not every day, because I guess that also might look like I'm desperate to kind of regain him back.
Yeah.
So I want to do it in a healthy way, and I want him there for me as Stefanos. I don't want him there for me, the Stefanos, the tennis player. That's something that I have as a rule.
I'm not at that, but I think like one of the big challenges of it is that it's a job that like requires to evolve constantly, right? Because every year the kid is changing so much that adaptability is the key, to understand what that person needs at every year. And it's a huge challenge, no? And I think like once you get like so inside like the dynamics, maybe it's hard to have that perspective to understand that, okay, like now he needs me as a father, no, and not as a coach.
No,
so
to separate those two. Huh?
It's again, being a dad is the most important job there is in the world.
And the most difficult job in the world, probably too.
We had Ivan Ljubicic in the podcast a few months ago, and he has also like a son coming up, and he was a coach of Federer, no, amazing player as well. It was super interesting and refreshing because he was saying, I could never think of coaching my kid because at first, I don't think I'm rational. It's my kid, so maybe, like there's emotions involved and a coach needs to be rational. And so I don't want it. I want to be there for my kid, support him if he gives advice, but I don't want to be mad at him because he missed a forehand, right?
But like for him, like being the tennis player we know he was, and then being a coach of one of the best players ever.
Man, he's an amazing
telling
coach.
you when you watch his kid of 16 years old, he's not rational. Like he gets mad if he misses a forehand. It's like, wait.
And I don't want to be mad at my kid for losing a match, right? I want to be there supporting him, but from
So what is he currently doing then?
So he's been helping. He's on the French Federation.
No, this I know, yes.
And he's been helping. You've been
but
working.
like,
does he actually help the kid, or?
So if like the kid has his own team and own way to work, like if his kid comes to him, ask him a question, he will answer, and he will be there as a dad. But he doesn't get involved in his tennis unless his kid asks.
He's doing it absolutely right and absolutely how it should be done.
Yeah.
How any parent should approach it.
At the end, this is in tennis or in sports is the only like place where you see this kind of behavior happening, right? Because me and my parents, they came from like the business experience, they were entrepreneurs, right? And me, when I was like 18, they told me, go to university, right? Then after, if you want to join me or you want to build your thing, I will use all my expertise, connections if you want, but
resources and everything.
But you have to like learn from experts, be a well-rounded person. And I don't know like why this transition in sports sometimes it's a bit different. Like I guess also like success, the adrenaline of it, because it's a lot of emotions involved and there's nice ones. And when you're part of a good team like yours, it's addictive.
It's driven by a lot of emotions, and emotions can be addicting.
Emotions are addictive, human beings, we love to experience the highs and then the lows they come with it, but
not everyone wants to experience the lows. That's why most of them disappear.
But if you're there's no one in history who remained high like 100 years, right? If you want to be high, you don't have to go at zero, but life is always a bit of a roller coaster.
Of course, wavy,
right?
Otherwise, it would be interesting. I mean,
it's a complicated matter sometimes. Parents and sports. Yeah.
In the time, like in the new year coming up, new season, how do you see this tennis and your goals and your mindset behind it?
I hope not as bad as 2024. I mean, I don't want to sound negative, but
you meant result-wise or mindset, or how you experienced
just everything that I went through in 2024 was difficult. 2024 was very difficult and probably the worst year emotionally, but also mentally that I went through and endured in my career. It was very difficult.
Okay.
So I just want to be perhaps, okay, let's forget about the results. I just want to feel like good in 2025. It just doesn't matter if I deliver results, it's just feeling good in 2025. And that's my main goal for the new season.
Yeah, I think unless you're a robot, you have
I don't need to feel happy.
Yeah.
Don't get that for feeling.
No, but
just feel good with who I am, what I do, and what I want to achieve.
Yeah, and I am being on the tennis court, like you feel like you can play. You're not like struggling with.
Exactly.
Okay, I can think about where do I want to put my forehand.
Yes.
And not have moments where I don't want to step out on the tennis court because I'm feeling awful.
Yeah.
Like this happened a lot in 2024.
Because of anxiety, outside pressure, or?
I never experienced those things before in my life. I had no idea these existed. So it was very weird to come face to face with it.
Does the outside pressure or judgment from, I don't know, if social media, press, have an impact on you, or you manage it quite well?
I don't think it stemmed from there. I think I still don't know how and why.
Yeah.
But my theory is that, and the theory of another friend that I've spoken to this about, it's that I had the long-lasting burnout that didn't seem to be kind of regenerating itself.
It's true that we people who work in normal areas like business, no, we have weekends and holidays more as a standardized thing, and we understand that no matter how ambitious we want to be, sometimes taking 2 or 3 days off will help you to recharge batteries. In tennis, it's a complicated issue because it feels that every week you're not playing. No, there's you're losing 5 spots in the ranking, or
it's hard.
Your sponsors are gonna leave you.
It's hard to sometimes even unless you have 3 weeks off to really disconnect, because you have 2 weeks. The first 3 you're overstressed, and then the last 3 days of your holidays you're preparing and getting stressed again to
anxious
and
for
to
the
train.
next.
But
How much I'm gonna suffer.
Sometimes the solution, maybe it's not. Sometimes yes, holidays, but going back to a practice court, no, and rediscovering why you're playing tennis, why you want to be there, no, finding joy again on just hitting a ball, and not scared of I'm gonna lose first round again, right? But it's true, in tennis it's complicated. It takes big balls to say, look, I'm gonna take 1 month. I'm gonna accept that my ranking for the first time, now in your case, maybe goes out of top 20, and I don't care.
I'm not surprised it did actually, out of top 10.
Yeah.
Because of the way I was feeling, I was like, how am I going to sustain feeling the way I'm feeling and being in the top 10? It's too good of a scenario in my mind that this is going to happen.
Have you ever thought about taking maybe an actual break and stopping whatever time you need to...
I was just surprised, for example, in the hardcore swing in spring that I was still able to go out on court and play because I was feeling, every day I was waking up, I was feeling like there's no chance I'm going to be able to practice the way I'm feeling. I don't know what that is that I'm feeling exactly, but I'm feeling like I can't concentrate, which is actually affecting big percentage of my tennis, because if I'm not able to concentrate, how am I going to be able to enter the court and expect that there's a small chance I might have to play 3 sets? How am I going to get over 2 sets at least? So I'm out there not being able to concentrate, being constantly down, unmotivated, despite of kind of being a person that I always woke up with big hunger to just go and run the whole day and do the best I can out of the day. So these were the phases that I was going through the season that kind of were messing up with my own head a little and weren't giving me that clarity that I was looking for to perform, because for me performance is the most important thing. If I'm not able to perform, it hurts my business, and it hurts of what I want to achieve and what I want to do as a tennis player, and it's difficult. And the most emotional moment for me this year was perhaps, I would say, the Monte Carlo Rolex Masters, because it came out of nowhere. I had 0 expectations in Monte Carlo because I was feeling like, okay, if I manage to win 2 or 3 rounds, I know I'm the champion here from a few years back, but still it doesn't mean anything. I wasn't feeling the way I'm feeling now back then. So seeing myself on the podium winning it, it came as a, it came as a wave of emotions. It came as a wave of emotions because I felt like, okay, perhaps I'm not as bad as I thought. Perhaps I should just reconsider certain things in my life. And it brought me a little bit of joy, because that period was dark. It was dark. Even if I didn't want it to be dark, it was just dark. I just couldn't do anything for it not to be. I tried everything.
There was a little moment of lightness and brightness, no, in the middle of the storm. You think in a way also, winning in a moment where you're not emotionally well, maybe doesn't help in a way that it hides the problem, and maybe it helps you believe.
It numbs it in a way.
Yes. No, I was exaggerating. The problem is not there.
I was not. Even when I won, I still knew that I'm not 100% well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was still trying to work on my issues and work on everything. The week before the tournament, like literally on a Sunday, and the Monday is the tournament start, I was in a room with a specialist, just going through everything that I'm feeling.
Yes.
And I was not sure if I'm going to be able to compete. So that was something that has never happened to me before in a competition or a tournament.
Do you feel you learn a lot from that, from now?
I did learn a lot, and I did learn at the end that also my symptoms were actually accurate of what I thought I had. So they were confirmed, and having to go play that way, well, it was difficult because I never thought that I was going to be that person,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you can relate a lot probably with this season.
You
no?
always
It was-
feel like the other one doesn't go through it, but
Yeah.
I think at the end there is a little month where everyone goes
Yes.
through it.
I mean, it's
I
such
saw
a-
Andre's interview on it,
Yeah.
and I have massive respect for him because it's not an easy thing to go out and talk about.
True.
Mm.
True. Phew, I think we're getting close to the end, no, Caro?
Yeah. It's,
So I'm very curious on.
Grigor, I think, also spoke about it.
Yes.
yeah, I
thinking
think
about
it.
like at the end, like we always like when we are in that situation, we may always like feel like weak or like different than the other one, but especially now, like more and more players are opening, and you realize that like 95% of the player
Are going through a lot.
are going through a
sometimes.
lot, or at least maybe the time change, like
Yeah.
maybe it's 2 months, maybe it's 1 year.
Are
There's
you-
a lot at stake, I feel like. That's why it's not an
Yes.
easy thing to talk about.
Yeah.
It's not just yourself out there. There's a lot of sponsors behind you, a lot of people wanting to know that you're 100% because I guess in a way it affects also their own business. You know, it's not just your own business.
The
That's going on.
perfection is kind of expected from you. It's true.
Just people need to understand that sometimes it's out of your control. You can't even control it. I wish it was controllable, but unfortunately it is not.
Yeah. Do you still, of course, these months have been complicated, but overall, do you think you still enjoy tennis, or with all the competition, traveling and stuff?
Now much more than
Yeah.
before, absolutely. And I had a terrible experience having to play the 2-week Masters 1000s, especially in that state, in that mental state.
It's
It feels
draining.
like a month.
Yeah, it's
And
very
that's
long.
why I was so vocal about it, because I had a very, very, very bad experience being there the whole time.
It's true. Schedule is not helping sometimes when you feel burnout.
No.
Tennis scheduling is.
That was my first reaction to the tournament. I was like, how am I going to stay here for 2 weeks feeling like that?
with all these anxieties and yeah,
How is that going to work?
it's true. But it feels like you're in the hamster wheel.
That's
You know?
probably the first reason why I was against it.
Yeah.
Is the feeling, the experience of being in the state I was and having to do that for 2 weeks. It was not so much about the tennis itself. It was more like what it causes you.
Yeah, the mental health aspect of it. It's true. Sometimes the tour is it has a big toll on it.
Yes. What will be the advice you will give to the
To your
younger
young-
self?
The advice I would give to my younger self is that hold on tight. A lot of things are coming your way, but that's something that I actually can think of now that is definitely something that I should be aware of in the future. And another advice that I would throw in there as an added bonus would probably be that don't take anyone around you, for granted. Try and be as close to your family as possible, and add value to yourself through those experiences, having your family around, your friends, your siblings, and concentrating on the work and not letting yourself get distracted within the chaos, but also allow people too easily within your circle. That is something that I would like to highlight, because I've made a few mistakes of allowing the wrong type of people into my inner circle, and it cost me a little bit. So this is something that I'm reconsidering, and this is something that I want to perhaps warn my younger self, and for my future self, is to keep on dreaming and believing, because if I keep on dreaming, I will still manage to achieve the goals that I've set since a young age. And in my opinion, age does not matter if I'm able to do those things when I'm 35. it wouldn't make a difference to me.
No.
I still did those things.
It would be
That's
more
nice. I
impressive
like
in
it.
a way.
I like it.
I don't want to set an age limit to
Yes.
Yeah,
what I'm
timeline.
capable of.
I like it. Keep growing until.
Yeah.
Infinity.
Yeah.
Yes.
In tennis and outside of tennis. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. Who would you like to listen in the podcast?
I can pick anyone, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Look, I have so many endless people on my mind. Okay, so I would love for you to interview Andre Agassi.
Okay.
I think he's an exceptionally interesting person, and that's going to be a very interesting conversation with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that one.
Yes.
Like, I think his story can be also super helpful for
Yeah.
young kids.
I would
coming up.
watch that for sure.
Nice.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
send me the link.
We will try
Okay.
to make it.
Yeah, we'll try
a
our
trip
best.
to Las Vegas will not be that bad.
Yeah, it can be fun. A good weekend there.
I don't know if you're going to be capable to talk on the interview, but it would be a good trip.
Everyone will be more free.
Yeah, we can get married there. Thank you,
Thank you
Stefanos.
so
It's been
much.
a
Thank you so
privilege.
Thank you very much.
Good luck this season.
Thank you guys. That
Yeah.
was
Thank you
fun.
so much.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Stefanos. For me, it was a real privilege and I learned a lot. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next episodes. And it will mean the world to me if you can share this episode with someone you think will enjoy it. Thank you and see you soon!